Okay, guys, let's keep going. Sorry, I took a little break to get something to eat real quick. All right, so we're back, and actually our cover is already dried. I'm gonna take my glue eraser here and kind of run it over a little bit because I want when we lay our inside cover down, I want it to be nice and smooth. I don't want any glue globs to make it look a little rough on the inside. So. Okay, so, all right. A little bit there. Check these corners. There's a little bit right there. Where we flip the corner up a little bit. A little bit seeped out. That's okay. All right, so I think we're, oh, this one gets a little bit rough right there. Kind of rubbing my finger over it just to see where some rough spots are from my glue seepage. I'm just taking that off. Okay, just gonna rub that a little bit there. All right, so next thing we're going to do is the inside lining cover. Okay, so this 8.5 by 11 will cover it horizontally. So we'll just have to cut a little piece off at the bottom, right? And if you notice, I went ahead and I lined up where I wanted my inside liner to be. And I took my blunt tool and went ahead and pushed it into the hinge gaps to kind of train it to prepare it to go in there when we glue it down, yeah? So I want you to do the same thing. Take your blunt tool once you've set where you want your paper to be, right? And just push that down in there, okay? So once we glue it, it'll be a lot easier to put in there, all right? So next we are going to take a pencil, put this back where it was, excuse me. Okay. I'm going to put it right there as far as the top is concerned. I think that's where I want it. Right there, yeah, that's where I want it. Okay. Then I'm going to mark where I want it to be cut down here at the bottom. I think right about there is good. And grab my paper trimmer. And I'm going to cut that piece off. Okay. Looks a little bit uneven. I think something is wrong with my paper trimmer. It just seems like it's just off. Like everything kind of seems to be like square. It's like this one side is like a little kicked out. I don't know what it is. I don't know if something's like loose or the rails are off or something, but when I pull it up and look at it this way, it looks like it's like this part here, this part's longer than, wider than that part up there. So let me just double check this real quick. Yeah, it is. So let me check this now. That's better. Okay. Yeah, it's a little off. I'm not sure. I did buy this at Joann's like over a year ago, and I did get it in the discount aisle, so maybe there was some damage to it while it was returned. I don't know. Anywho, so all right, here we go. Line that up there. All right, I think we're good. Now, to attach this, I'm going to use some double-sided tape on the edges and then Fabri-Tac. Yeah. Where's my? Goodness gracious! I have lost my tape. I thought I had it. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. Okay. Oops, sorry. I put my head in the camera. Okay. As close to the edge as I can. Because you want this to lay nice and flat, right? Especially around the edges. We don't want any of that lifting up. Oh, come on. Here we go. Okay. And there. Okay, put that to the side. Go ahead and give this a nice smush, burnish, whichever word you want to use. If you don't do this, the double-sided tape will come right up. It won't attach. Okay, make sure that there's nothing sticking out. Let me get rid of that that pencil mark there. Alright, there's a little bit of that tape sticking out. Okay. Now, I am going to add glue. Sorry guys, I moved my cart for a second. I realized I need it. Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm rearranging a couple things over here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape backing here. There we go. So if you've stuck with me this long, we're over it. I think we're into an hour now. I'm sure we are. We've got a little ways to go. Once we do the lining, then we'll cut the paper and attach. We'll put the bookbinding tape on it. Then we'll do the outside, finish the outside cover. Then we'll attach signatures. So we're probably about halfway done. I'm just putting my thin bead of Fabri-Tac on the tape directly. Remember, this gives us a little bit of wiggle room to position, because once this, if I don't do this and just run with just the tape, once it sticks to the paper, there's no moving it without damaging what's underneath. So this provides just a couple of seconds of positioning time, as well as backup for the adhesion here. Yeah. All right, then we are going to, I'm going to just run like this, all the way around with the Fabri-Tac here. Okay, now put that to the side. Yeah, I'm going to try not to get my head in the way while I position this. Okay. I'm lining up the hinge gaps if you want to start with. Making sure everything's in there straight. Just take a quick look here before I commit to the space. I think we're going to move it up here a little bit. Okay, I think everything looks about even. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is push in here in the spine first. Spread that glue out. And I'm going to push into the hinge gaps, okay? Just take your tool, push your paper in the right here. I want you to be very, very careful not to tear it. Okay? If you do, it's fine. I'm going to show you how to fix that, because we're going to go ahead and cover that with tape to reinforce it, just to make sure even if it does tear, it won't be seen. Okay. Alright, and I'm just going to smear the glue out, spread it out. Make sure it's nice and even so we don't have any bubbles. Okay. And then push more into those hinge gaps like so. Alright, see how nice it goes in there? You have to just bring your paper in like so. Just push it towards the center, yeah? And if you need to, you can use your finger. If using the tool makes you a little bit nervous, just take your thumb and rub it in there as well, yeah? Okay, now we're just going to go around and commit to the positioning here. Now, when you fold this, you might see a little bit of a bubble here. That's fine. Just take your bone folder and push it towards the hinge gap there to flatten it out, okay? All right. Now do that on the other side just to make sure it doesn't bubble up, and we're having a little bit of bubbling here. No problem. We're just going to push that towards the hinge gap there, and then push it in, yeah? Like so. All right. Just going to smooth that out with my finger here. And just work the paper just a little bit. Make sure it's in there. Okay, now we're going to flatten out the edges. This. Okay. I'm just going to spread the glue out like my bone folder. Like that. Okay. I'm just making sure my edges are nice and flat, and then I'm going to go over it with the glue eraser real quick and remove any excess glue that has seeped out. Okay, I think we've got most of that. I can always go back and check again and see if we need to go over it again. It's no problem. Some in this corner I really need to get off though. All right, so here is our basic cover here, yeah? We've got the inside done, right? Now we're gonna work on reinforcing the, we're gonna work on the cover and the back cover next, right? So we're gonna cut these out to size. And I'm thinking, just for the size, I may cut it down to here. So what I want is a very small border all the way around the image, right? Maybe, you know, right around 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so you want to measure your artwork as such. So if we are 5 by 7.5 this way, I'm probably going to cut this way 7 and let's see, the 7.5, it needs to be 7 1/4, right? That gives me 1/8 of an inch on either side. Width-wise, I'm going to cut it at 5 3/4. I'm sorry, 4 3/4. So I'm going to cut 4 3/4 this way, 7 1/4 that way on my image, right? That's the back. Let's put it on the front. Put this to the side for a second. Just going to let that sit. And it looks like we can probably cut around this part and then start measuring it down, cutting it down. So I'm going to cut here and see where that leaves us. Actually, just to be safe, I'm going to cut right there. You can already tell that's way too long, or tall rather. So I'll definitely be shortening that up. But I'd rather cut it too big versus too short, and then have to re-print an image or, you know, make more work for myself. So let's start with this and see how much we need to cut off, yeah? Let me push this paper back down in here a little bit. Here we go. Okay. So this is the front. This doesn't really matter just yet. All right, and I want this part of the image centered as much as possible, right? So it looks like I can cut all the way down to the second line here all the way around. So let's do that. Cut down some more. Now this is just a trial and error process, or, you know, just to get the size right, you know? see how it looks now. Still a little too tall and still too wide. Okay, just gonna keep cutting. So I'm gonna cut down to the next line of the design, all the way around. This is already cut. See, it's cutting it just off. I don't know why it's doing that. I may have to buy another cutter. I don't know why it's doing this. Excuse me, guys. I'm having trouble with my paper trimmer here. I'm gonna have to cut out this rough edge here. Sorry guys, I'm having to just cut out this rough edge here. I might take a piece of sandpaper to it just to definitely see. There's supposed to be a self-sharpening thing too. That's the other thing that's bugging me. That's why I got it. I mean, it's an expensive Fiskars cutter, right? Okay, let's just... Okay. Things don't always go as planned, right? Okay, let's keep cutting. This is unfortunate. So, I don't know if I told you guys, I burned myself pretty bad the other day. I was cooking dinner. I think I told you, I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't. But I was cooking dinner and was waiting for my daughter to get home from work. So I wanted it to be warm, right? So I was trying to move this pan. It's a paper pan. I'm trying to move it from the oven to the stove to the microwave to keep it warm. And I had my pot holders on, you know, and it dropped. The whole thing dropped, hit the stove, and all of the liquid and the gravy splashed all over my face and my upper chest and shoulders. It's got to be at least second-degree burns. All on my neck. I got some on my face, my shoulder. It's pretty bad. So that was fun this weekend. I think that's going to be good right there. What do you guys think? Yeah? I think so. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to cut this same size on this other piece. Let me just check the measurements on it here real quick. So now this is 7 1/8 by 4 5/8. Okay. So I want them to be the same size. So 7 1/8. So I'm going to go ahead and do like I did over here and cut down to this line of the design all the way around. Let's see. Make sure I got this right. Yeah, okay. A little further there. And one more cut here to there. Looks like. Look about right. I think this was a little taller. That's okay. That's alright, you don't tell. There we go. That's what it look like there. Okay, so here's our outside covers. Yeah, right here. We'll put those on. We're going to use the double-sided tape again on both. Actually, we need to ink that first. What was I thinking? And I left my inker on the other table. 1 second, you guys. I'll be right back. Okay, just making sure I'm still in frame here. I went and grabbed my Scorched Timber ink, Distress ink, and we're going to ink these edges real quick. I'm wondering if I want to distress the edges. So I give it a little bit of lift. I think I might. Okay, here are the edges on this one. I want to get rid of that white paper core is what I'm aiming for, really. Don't want to see that. Okay. I may go back over this later on, but it's just for this tutorial, we're just going to ink the edges there. Alright, let's move this off to the side and grab our double-sided tape. Okay. And the same thing we did on the inside liner, we're just going to do the same thing on the outside. And then we won't see the double-sided tape anymore, I promise. There we go. And again, you want to try to get as close to the edge as you can. I said the reason I use a double-sided tape on these types of things is because I want those edges to lay flat. And the double-sided tape allows me to do that without using a whole bunch of glue and dealing with seepage and trying to erase it and worrying about erasing the image off the paper or roughing up the edges too much. Okay, get this a nice smush and the back cover. There we go. So what are you guys thinking of the series so far? I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Tell me what you think, what you like, what you don't like. I was surprised to see how many of you are enjoying the fact that it's a long series and the videos are long. I always just assumed people didn't like them. So like I said, before I was skipping parts and doing things off camera, but I kind of figured, well, if somebody doesn't want to watch a long video, they can always fast forward. But like she said, you guys want it, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the whole thing. I'm gonna cut this edge a little bit. It's a little bit rough. Where's my scissors here? Okay, that corner a little bit. Okay. Now, let me just double check this again that I smush these down real good. Okay. So, here we go. This is the front. This is the back over here. Let's go ahead and remove the backing. Close this up before I cut myself. Those scissors are sharp. These are the Tim Holtz spring-loaded ones for like precision cutting. These things are sharp as all get out. So if you do get these, make sure you don't lose your top for the blade and keep those things closed if you're not using them. It is super sharp. Come on. I pushed it down too far. Too much. Can't get it off. There we go. Come on. There we go. Work with me here. Okay. Let's grab our glue. So I got me a new bottle for my Fabri-Tac. I got this at Hobby Lobby in the cake decorating section. Seems to be working just fine. It hasn't split on me yet like the Sugar Bell bottle did 3 times. Sorry, I mean, I'm not endorsing it, but I won't be buying another one. This one works just fine, and it's half the like way less than half the cost. Okay, now, just like with our liner, let's bring it over here. I start by bending it a little bit to start in the middle as I'm positioning it. Here, there, and I'm going to look this up just so I can see it. If it's even. And I think we're good, actually. So press down in the middle here and work my way out. Like that real lightly, and then I'll bring my bone folder in to press it down. Okay, let's spread the glue first. Like so. Just running your bone folder over it. And then commit to this position by just hitting your edges where the tape is. Yeah? All the way around like that. Okay, now. So I'm just checking the width of my tape here. It's not going to cover up too much of this. Okay. Alrighty, so that is the front cover. Let's do the back. Alright, let's get our glue going. Thin bead all on the tape. And then all the way around here. Okay. Oop. Make sure we don't do this upside down. And let's put this on here. Lay that down and then flip this up, make sure I got it straight and even with the cover as best as we can. Okay, I'm going to bring it to the edge a little more. Okay, I think we're going to go right there. We'll start in the middle, spread out my glue. Don't want it bumpy. And then hit my edges. If you do have some seepage, like we always do, just grab your residue eraser and pick that stuff up as quick as you can. And we do have a little bit of seepage up here, so let's go ahead and get that. Careful not to rub off my design on my paper by over erasing. So just a little light. You don't want to damage your design paper or whatever paper you're using. A little bit right there. Some there. A little bit right here. Some right there. Let's check this side too. A little bit there. Good. Okay. A little bit there. All right. I think we are good, you guys. Let's rub that one more time here. Making sure to pay special attention to the corners. I want to make sure that those are down. I don't want those curling up later on in the future. If we can help it, right? Okay, now, there we go. So, here's where we are so far. Next part we're going to do is the spine. We're going to cover the spine. Now, originally I brought out my 2-inch. And I forgot that I actually used 3-inch on this book. So we have an inch and an inch and an inch. So I used my 3-inch on this. So, I'm sorry about that. So you're going to want, you can use 2-inch here, but it's only going to give me a 1/2 inch coverage here, and then when it folds it'll be even less, right? So I really want to use my 3-inch. My gut is telling me to use 3-inch. But then now I'm wondering, if I use my 3-inch, I forgot to move this image over, because if I use my 3-inch, it may cover part of my title. Right? Which is okay, it's not too much. I can always move it over a little bit. Decisions. Should I go with the 2 inches, guys? What do you think? Should I go with 2-inch? It will cover the paper, it will cover the inch gap. It'll leave me a 1/2 inch on either side, so let's go with the 2-inch. It'll work. It'll be fine. We'll use a 2-inch here. Now let's push these in again. Okay. So, if you're using bookbinding tape, I'm going to grab that now, and we're going to go start from the inside and go in, and we're going to wrap it around. So we're going to go all the way around from the back, or from the inside to the back, or outside back into the inside. Yeah? So I'm going to start down here, because I kind of want this line of the edge of the tape to line up with the lining, because I don't want to see it up here. Okay, that's kind of the tricky part. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my tape even, right? All right, just cut straight there. And I'm going to put it down here at the bottom. Now be careful not to lay your tape on the paper, because it will pull up the paper, okay? This is very, 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 very sticky. If you're not using this, you're using washi tape or fabric, it's fine. If you're using fabric, let me just, for a second, let me put this down. If you're using fabric, you're going to want to use like Fabri-Tac. and just, you know, spread it out nice and even, okay? If you want to use fabric. Works just fine. If you want to use like a faux leather, you can use that too. Put that around and do the wrap. I wouldn't do the inside with it because it's too thick. It will be difficult to fold your book if you use that, because I think it's about 2 millimeters thick most of the time. If you're going to use faux leather, I just put it on the outside of your cover, right? Just put it on the outside and then cut flush with the edges, right? If you're using washi tape, you can do this method. Wrap it all the way around. Just make sure that you use glue stick. Rub your washi tape with glue stick just to make sure it stays down, okay? All right, so back to this. Book binding tape. Now I've got this in my list of supplies in the description below. So we're going to line up. Be very careful not to hit the paper with that. I'm going to line this up. Excuse me one second. I need to get straight with it. Line it up to the end here. I want it to be nice and even so I have a nice half inch on either side. I'm actually changing my technique because I didn't do it this way in the other book. I wanted to try this, but I think I'm changing my mind again. Sorry, you guys. I'm changing my mind again. I'm a woman. I'm allowed to do that. Okay. I was wanting to do it up on here, but now that I'm thinking once I wrap it, there's not going to be enough folded over for their... I mean, I'm worried about that part coming apart, right? So let's go ahead. It's not going to bother me that much. Let's go ahead and just start in the middle here and make sure we've got a nice even amount on either side of the gaps here. Okay. Put that down. I'm going to push it into those gaps as well. Okay. Now, just going to pull your tape nice and straight and lay it down as straight as you can. So this might be a little bit off. Let me carefully pull this up. Hopefully I won't damage the paper underneath. Straighten this up a little bit. There we go. It's a little off just by a smidge. This is a little bit finicky, but this will protect your paper from tearing. And helps reinforce your spine even more. Okay, I think we're nice and straight. Okay, and as I'm laying it down, I'm going to go into the hinge gaps first, and then rub it over the spine. Yeah? Okay. There we go. All right. Now, just going to wrap it around. And pull it straight. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did on the inside, and I'm going to push this into the gaps as we're going. Yeah? Here. And just keep pushing it down as you go. Pull some more tape. Okay. Easy. Carefully. Okay, line this up. Looks like we're getting a little bit off here. Straighten up a little bit. Keep pushing this into the hinge gaps as we go. And then hit the spine, the outside pieces there. I should get all that air out of there. I don't want any air underneath that tape. Okay. Now, we got the outside done. Almost. Here we go. Just making sure this is nice and flat. Yeah? Okay. Now, we're going to flip it again. And just line it up with your starting point best you can. And And then just like we've been doing, push it into your hinge gaps as you go. Yeah? Okay. Now, once you get past where you started, you just cut your tape and you're done. Yeah? So we are right there. That's where we started. I'm going to go a little past it. And then I'll cut it. Yeah? Okay. Now we're going to cut straight as we can. Okay. And just press that down. Push into our gaps using our bone folder or our tool to flatten out the tape on the edges and on the ends. Okay. I'm happy with that. Flip it over, do it again. Just kind of run it over the edges again one more time. Got a little bit of glue from the table on there. I'll clean that up shortly. Okay, we are done with the cover for all intents and purposes. And there we go. Slowly fold that. Okay, it might feel a little tight. That's okay. Just work it a little bit. It's no big deal. Work it back and forth. Okay? You can bend it backwards a little bit. Now that you've got it reinforced, you don't have to worry about tearing. Okay, and that's why we pushed it into the hinge gaps. That's the purpose of it. To give us that flexibility, yeah? So there we go. Yeah, here we go. We are all good. This part is really nice and loose. This is where I doubled up on the paper when we first covered it, so it's a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to work it back and forth just a little, just to give us a little more flexibility. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. All right, I'm going to put this to the side. Now we're going to work on the signatures. I'm going to go grab a little bit of my juice. If you want to take a break, this is a good time to do it. Once we put the signatures in, we are done. Okay? Okay. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next part we're going to do is we're going to measure and punch our holes in our spine for our signatures. The best way, I thought, this is a 1-inch spine, so the best way, easiest way to measure where you're going to put, we're going to mark straight lines down the spine of where we're going to put our signatures, and then we're going to mark them this way. Easiest way to measure that is, this is 1 inch, find your halfway point, right? And then mark halfway down your spine, all right? And then go ahead and draw that line, all right? Line these lines up here if I can do it. All right, and took my pencil, I'm just going to mark a line. Okay, that's halfway. So where we're going to put our responses, our signatures, since we only have 2, we're going to do halfway between this hinge gap in this line and this hinge gap in this line. Okay? So I'm going to go find my halfway point, make another pencil mark, do the same down on both ends, and then connect those lines. And that will be where we punch our holes for our signatures. Yeah? Here we go. There's one. Put it around here, and then we'll do the other one. Here's there. I think I got it. Did I get it? Yeah, I got it. Okay. And another line. Okay, that's where our signatures are going to go. Yeah. Now, what we're going to do now, since we're using a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, we're going to start from the center. Right? Just find where you think the middle is. I'm just eyeballing it. If you want to measure it, feel free. Okay? So here's my middle. Now I'm gonna go about a half, 3/4 of an inch from the top here down. So I'm just gonna pick on I'm gonna eyeball it right about there. Okay? That's my second mark. The center of these 2 dots will be my third one. So again, I was eyeballing it. As my third hole, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come down about 3/4 of an inch, make my fourth mark, and then halfway down between that and the center, I'll make my fifth mark. Now I will take my ruler so I can mark the hole on the other line for the other signature, just to make sure that they're straight. So we'll do this, and then mark my hole there. And I'll do that all the way down. Okay, that looks straight. Let's do this. And there's my mark. Now I've seen different techniques. Everybody, different artists do it different ways. Again, this is just the way I do it. Please feel free to do this however you're comfortable. Okay. And then here we go down here. There. All right. That's where we're going to make our holes. Yes? Now, I do want you to get, another little thing I forgot to tell you, a piece of cardstock. This is a file folder. And I want you to measure it the length or the height of your book. Okay? We're going to make a template from these holes to use to sew our signatures in, or to punch our holes into our signatures so the holes line up. Okay? So, to do that, we've got our holes marked here. We're going to take our cardstock, line it up here, and then we're just going to punch. I'm going to make some straight lines here. Again, so we know where to put our holes, right? So, in our template. Do that. Again, I'm sure there's other easier ways to do this. This is just the way I do it. Here. And right here. Alright, then you're going to take your template. Let me erase those pencil marks. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, y'all. Did not mean to do that. Got a little overexcited with my marking. Okay. You're going to take your cardstock here. You're just going to fold it in half. Right? And this will lay into your signature when you're punching your holes. Yeah? So all you have to do here is punch the hole where the line that you mark with a pencil intersects with the fold that you just made. So to help see that, I would go ahead and take your bone folder and give that a nice crisp edge so you can see where the intersection is. So what we're going to do is I'm going to punch a hole where the fold and the pencil mark intersect, and that should be exactly like our spine. Yeah? Okay. I'm just going to go over here and just double check and make sure they all line up. And we look good to go. Yep, we are good. I'll put that to the side for a second. And now we're going to punch our holes here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another eraser and get rid of our extra pencil marks before I punch holes in this thing. And get rid of the center mark is what I really want to get rid of. This eraser's not doing really well on it, is it? Let me try the actual pencil eraser, see if that helps. That's better. Much better. Much better than that other pink thing. Now these other pencil marks will be covered up by the signature itself, so I'm not too concerned about getting those erased, but I don't want to see what's in the center here, so just cleaning that up a little bit. Yeah? Okay. Now, let's poke our holes. Take your awl, and just in the center of your mark there, on the line. Careful not to poke yourself on the other side. Just punch your hole. Yeah? Now I'm bracing my spine with my fingers here, being very careful not to stab myself so I don't bend the spine as I'm pushing through here. I'm gonna make sure I get on the line so everything's nice and straight, yeah? Just twist it and push, and brace my spine, and push all the way through, okay? And make sure I get on that line. I want it nice and straight. And twist and push. There we go, okay. Push that in, get a nice twist, and push it through. Okay, let's do the other side there. There we go. Okay. Go. Okay. There. All right, we are almost done with the hole punching. Almost done, you guys. Stick with me. We're almost there. Okay, and the last one. Just in there, pull it out. All right, now we've got our holes all the way through. They look nice and even, I believe. And we're good. All right, we're gonna put our book cover to the side, and we're gonna grab our papers. And this is where you're gonna want to start cutting your papers, yeah? So, I like my papers in my book to come up or be, you know, at least about a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 of an inch at least or more from the edge of the book, okay? Which means if this is 5 by 7.5, I want to cut my papers at 4.5, and that'll give me a 1/4 of an inch at the top and the bottom. So I'll do 4.5 this way, and I'll do 7 this way, okay? Again, that'll give me a 1/4 of an inch on either end, okay? And a 1/4 of an inch on this end, right? I'm sorry, backed up. Back up. No, that's wrong. Okay, so we're going to do, so this is 5, we're going to cut it at 4 3/4 this way. I'm sorry, 4 3/4 this way, 7 this way, okay? Again, 4 3/4 this way, all right? That'll give us a 1/4 of an inch from this edge, and then 7 this way. That'll give us a 1/4 of an inch from each one of these edges, okay? Now, put your cover to the side, grab your paper and your paper trimmer, and start cutting your papers. Now, you can start by folding them, just folding them in half, right? So let's just do that. And please fast forward through this part, because I still have to decide what order I'm going to put these in. So, okay. Now this part, I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera. Okay, we're going to keep going here. We are under an hour, believe it or not. All right, I went ahead and folded all my pages. Now, my order that I put mine in, usually for any of my writing journals, I'm usually an even number of, you know, design papers, or I call them others, and then my coffee dye paper. So I've got 10 of these and 10 design papers, or others, right? So what I'll do is I'll try to find one of my coffee papers that kind of looks kind of cool. I'm going to get one, the first one, like to cover the signature. Let's do that over here. See if I've got one that's got a cool design on it. Let's see. Over here I can trade. Let's see. Oh, Philly. Let's see. We'll just go with, I think I got some stains here on this one. We'll use that one as a front. Okay, so what I'll do is interchange them. Grab one, then grab the other one. And we'll do that real quick. I feel like I'm boring you guys, but this is what you guys said you wanted to see. So this is what we're doing. Everything. Make sure I got the print in the right direction. Let's do that one. And one of these. Kind of trying to mix them up a little bit. Come on. Here we go. And this paper here. Definitely gonna have to cut that one. That's a little long. Just a little. Okay. And that is this signature. So we'll do this one. And then we'll have this one in the center. So I will put this one out so you can see the whole image when you open it. Like that. Alright, there's that one. Same thing over here with our second signature. And then we're going to cut them to size. Yeah? Well, you can do this in whatever order you want, right? You know, this is just the way I do it. And I'll do this one here. Let's grab a different one. I'll grab this one here. Which one do I want in the center? Let's put this one in the center as the center one. And put this one next. Here. This one. Here. That would have been cool for the outside. Let's switch those out. Let's do this one for the cover. I'll put this one on the inside. A bit more defined here. So, flip this around. Sorry, guys. Change my mind all the time when I do these. Right there on the outside. Yeah. Okay, so we done did this one. One more coffee dye, plain one, and then this will be the center here. Yeah? Okay. So, make sure I fold it out on the crease there. Almost got that all cockeyed. Here we go. Okay. Now, if you didn't already do so, you're going to want to give your, give it a nice smush with your bone folder, get nice creases. You can do it individually if you want. However you want to do it. I'm trying to save a little time here, but we'll go through each one real quick. Give it a nice smush. We'll do it like a couple at a time, just to save some time here. Okay, I think we're good there. I'm going to close it up here. Give it another smush. We're going to do it again once we cut the papers, so don't fret. Now you can also just do it with your hand, like I'm doing like this, or with your bone folder, either way. Now we're going to do that again as we're cutting, so I'm not too concerned about it right this very second. Alright, grab your paper trimmer. Now, this is where it comes down to personal preference when you're cutting your papers, because when you fold paper, you'll notice that it gets, the middle paper starts sticking out, right? Okay? I don't particularly like that. I like mine to be nice and even. So if you'll notice on mine, when I cut them here, they're pretty close to being even. I don't have like more sticking out than the others. So I will line it up with the widest paper will be on the outside, and everything else, if it's shorter on the inside already, I'll leave it like it is. But I don't want like this. I don't want paper sticking out. Okay? So since we already know that this is right here, is 5.5, and we want it to actually be a little bit inside when we cut it, right? So what we're going to do is, since this is 5.5 wide, we already know that this is 5 wide, we want it 1/4 inch inside the edge. So meaning that this is 5, we're going to cut this paper down to 4 3/4. Got it? Okay. Now 4 3/4 this way. And this way, since we wanted 1/4 inch from either end, we're going to cut this one, since it's 7.5, we're going to cut it down to 7. That'll give us 1/4 inch on either end. Okay, so 4 3/4 this way, 7 this way. Yeah? Alright, so I do a few papers at a time. I'll grab like 2 or 3. So I'm going to grab these 4 actually. And I will give it another quick brush with my bone folder on the crease real quick. Alright, make sure my papers are lined up on the inside. So I want these short ones kind of more in the middle. I don't want to cut that off. Alright. I'll just check here real quick. Alright, so this way we're going to cut 4 3/4. It's 4 and that's 4 3/4. Okay, and then we're going to cut 7 here. So let me open this up. Oops. That's 7. All right. Yeah. Okay. Just double check. So this is what I'm going for on this book. See the edge all the way around? So when we put it in, we'll have that much room on the ends. Yeah? See that? That's what I want all the way around, evenly on my pages. So put this to the side and grab another bundle here to cut. And grab another 3 or 4 here. Okay, I'm just checking the position of my papers. I want the shorter ones more in the middle. Okay, so I think we're good there. Okay, all right. Now, as I keep moving, into the center, I cut to make sure that it doesn't stick out as you get to the middle. You have to cut it a little shorter each bundle each time. So if we started at 4 3/4, I'm going to come down 1/16 of an inch when I cut this one this way. Okay, so now I put it, oh no, I cut this wrong. Oh my god, you guys, I did it so wrong. I started at the wrong mark. Oh my god. That's okay. It's alright. I'm going to grab 4 more pieces of paper. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that, guys. People that just did that. I think I'm just trying to rush. I need to slow down even more. Alright, so here's 4 new sheets here. And we're going to start at, I don't know if you guys can even see that, where I'm doing here. Let me bring us down some. Okay, so I'm starting at 4 3/4 for our original mark is, and I'm coming down 1/16 of an inch. Okay? And I'm going to cut there. And I'm going to show you what it does. And once we've done that, put this inside here, you should have even and nice and flat. See that? Nice and flat, right? If not, that section I just put in there would have been sticking out just a little bit. That's 1/16 of an inch. Okay? So now we're going to cut this way down to 7. Alright. And just to check, we'll put this in here, make sure it's nice and even. And again, this is the way I do it. If you don't mind the different widths and pieces sticking out or whatever, that's fine. Up to you. Alright, so it's nice and flat, top and bottom. Alright, let's keep going here. I'm going to grab another bunch here. 3 or 4. Nice good crease there. Check the positioning of my papers. Okay, I think we're good with this. Alright, so now I just come back down another 1/16 of an inch. So if we started at 4 3/4 over there. So now I come down another 1/16 of an inch from our last mark. Cut that. Cut this at 7, and we're good to go with this bunch. So we'll put this in, check it for, make sure it's nice and flat. And we are, nothing sticking out. Alright, let's grab another bunch here. Alright, now this one, I'm going to let this one come down to the bottom there. So just cut it once. Yeah, okay. Check the positioning of the rest of the papers in here. Yeah, we're nice. We're good. Okay. So, again, we just come down another 1/16 of an inch from our last mark. So there's 1, 2, 3, 1/16 of an inch down. And then 7. Alright, let's put this in here. Just make sure we're so nice and even. And we are, yeah? Alright, this is the last bunch here. And just checking the positioning, of course. And come down another 16th. That was the third one, so we're 1, 2, 3 in there and here. And then 7. And we put this inside and just check again the edge. If it sticks out a little too far, then we just cut it down some more. No big deal. Goes in, and we're nice and flat here. Yeah? Alright. Now the other one, I am going to cut off hammer to save us some time. Okay guys, now we are ready to sew in our signatures. So, I'm going to make sure I forgot my needle and my thread. Do that. Alright, you need your needle and your thread. I've got the wax thread here. You'll need your clips and your awl or pokey tool, whichever, and the stencil that we just made, or the template that we just made. Okay, now, if you eyeballed it like I did, you want to make sure that you mark which is the top, right? Because they may be uneven, right? If you flip it over the wrong direction. So, this is the top of my stencil, so I'll make sure to line that up with the top of my signature. Alright, let's make sure that all my writing is in the right direction, not upside down. I'm going to push this up to the middle a little bit. Alright, now what we're going to do next is clip our signature shut, or pages together rather. Okay, just going to make sure that these are all lined up nice and even. And then put my clips on it so the paper doesn't move as I'm poking holes in it, right? Alright, this is the top this way. So I'm going to put my stencil, or my template in. Move my cover out of the way so I don't poke holes in it. Just drop that in the bottom. And the reason we want the template is the length of the book, so that way we position our papers correctly, right? So, I want to try to make it even top and bottom with 1/4 inch on each side. Alright, there we go. So we'll have a little bit hanging out on each side. That's the cover of our book. Alright, and if you want to take a book, lay this inside of a book, open up a book and lay it inside, is one way of doing this. If you have one like an old yellow pages or whatever to hold your signature together. I just do this by hand. So I find the middle hole, poke it in there, and hold my pages together as I just push out through the fold. Yeah? Hold the template in place as I pull my awl back out. And for that, I just hold it with my thumb here. Yeah? And then I go to the next one. There we go. And just push it with my thumb. And then the last one here. And I just push that through there, right? Pull it out. Okay, now we're just going to do the other holes here. Where's the hole? There it is. Okay. Alright, just making sure none of my holes have moved, and then we'll just punch this last one here. Okay. There we go. That one's done. We'll go ahead and sew this one in. So keeping our clips in, right? We are just going to measure our thread, which is, I measure 3 times the length. So it's 1, 2, 3, and a bit. And there's that. Okay, just thread it. And to do the 5-hole pamphlet stitch, we start in the center. Okay, go in, out, end, whichever way you want to look at it, leaving a little bit of a tail. That's what we're going to tie with. All right, and then into the corresponding hole of the spine. Yeah? Pull that through. Like that. Okay. Then we're going to come in from the second hole from the top. So we're going to go up one hole and go in. Right? And to the corresponding hole in the signature. And I got this upside down. See, now I didn't check. Okay, don't forget to check and make sure you've got your signature in the right side up. Almost did this upside down. Here we go. Now we're right. All right, let's try this again. Excuse me. I got sniffles again, of course. Yes, I'm sick. I'm always sick. It's a life with my issues and my health problems. Okay, again, in. Enough tail leave it out to tie off later. Okay, then we're going to go up one hole and go back in. And then to this corresponding hole of the signature. Yeah? Okay. Oops. I doubled it up too much. Where's the bottom of it? There we go. Okay, let's shorten this up a little bit. Give myself a little bit more of a tail. There we go. Okay. So now we're going in through that one. Then we're going to go back out to the next hole up. Yeah? And the corresponding hole of the spine. Push that through. That, oh, stuck on one of the clamps. Here we go. Let's pull that through. Yeah? Alright, now we're going to go down, back through this hole. And be careful not to go through the thread. And then back through the corresponding hole here. Again, being careful not to go into the previous thread that you put through there. Alright, there's that one. Now we're going to go down all the way to the fourth hole. Go back out. And out the corresponding hole of the spine. Like that. Alright, we're going to go down one to the final hole here. Go back in. And in the corresponding hole of the signature. Here we go. Pull that through. And then we're going to go back up to the fourth hole. Go back out. Being careful not to pierce the thread. Okay. And then out all the way through with the corresponding hole on the spine. Again, being careful not to pierce that thread. Okay. And finally, we're going to go into the middle hole here. I think I might have pierced the thread. It's not pulling in. Yep, I did. Okay, if you did that, just unthread your needle and pull that thread back through. Yeah? Which one is it? It's this one here. So if you pierce the thread, it'll stop and it won't let you pull it all the way through. So I'm going to have to rethread this. Just pull it out, rethread your needle, and try again. It helps if you pull this thread over to this side and hold that one, and then try to go into the right side of the hole, like that. I think we got it that time. We did. Okay, we're good now. Alright. Now, we're going to go into the middle hole. Again, being careful not to pierce that thread. I'm going to push it over to the side here a little bit. Okay, we're good. And then finally into the corresponding middle hole of the signature. Come on, here we go. Alright, did I go through the thread? I did not. Okay, good deal. Alright, I'll take the needle off here. I'll take my clips off. And then we're going to tighten the thread. Yeah? Now you want to make sure there's a tail on either side of the middle thread there. I'm going to straighten this up, make sure it's nice and straight in the book. Okay. And then I'm going to start pulling from this side. If I can. There we go. And then pull up on the tail. And it looks like I did pierce it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this a little bit. Just pull it right through. It's okay. The important thing is to not panic. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up on the corresponding tail with this one to tighten it up on that side. And then do the same on the bottom. Pull the bottom thread tight as I can here. And then pull this way. That's a little loose. I wonder why that's so loose. I wonder if I actually did pull the thread. I don't think I did. Ooh, that's too tight. Ooh, be careful not to pull it too tight. You don't want to tear your paper. Here we go. All right. Let's pull up on this side again. And then pull this way. Now you want to check for tautness by just flipping it over and make sure these are all nice and tight. All right. Okay, once it's nice and tight and you're nice and straight, go ahead and tie your square knot, which means this one over this thread, left over right, right over left, and then left over right again. And there you go. I'm just going to cut off a little bit of the bottom here. I like to leave my threads hanging out the bottom. All right, so we're going to fold these over, give it a nice smush again, and there's our first signature, right? I'm going to grab a clip to hold that in place while we do the second signature. Same process as we did the first one. Grab your signature, check the positioning of your papers, make sure they are where you want them, and make sure it's not upside down. I think it might be upside down again. Am I? Yep, nope, yep. Now we're good. Okay. Put that in the center there. Make sure my other papers are nice and in the center. I think we're good. Yep, I think we're good. Okay. Let's go ahead and clamp our pages down. All right, grab our template. Which way is top? This way is top. Okay. Drop that in there. Make sure it's nice and even, top and bottom there. I'm going to double check it with this, against this signature here, and make sure that it's even. Here we go. Okay. Push that to the side for a sec, and I'm going to grab my awl and get started here. Okay, I'm going to hold my template with my left hand, poke my first hole. There we go. Go down to the next one, push it through, and the last one. Well, there we go. Okay. All right. Making sure my template hasn't moved. Just line it back up if it does. Next hole. There we go. And then the last one here. I should have gone down a little bit further because it is way up high on this paper, but that's okay. We will make do. Okay. Now, take our template out, get our thread, and we'll just measure this 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna drink my juice here. We are almost done, you guys. All right, I'm gonna thread my needle, sew this one in, and we will be done. Okay. Grab your signature and your cover, and start again. In through the middle, leaving yourself a tail to tie with, like that. Hold that. In the corresponding hole of your spine. And you don't want to pull it too tight here because you want to leave yourself some room when you come back through this hole, yeah? If you pull it all the way tight, you won't be able to see what you're doing, and it'll be a little bit more difficult. Yeah. All right, we're going to go up one hole, go in. It's in the same hole of the signature. And again, not to pull too tight. Just leave yourself a little bit of slack. All right, we're going to go up one hole, go back out. Oops, stuck on the clamp here. Here we go. So why is it so tight? All right, go back out the corresponding hole of your spine. All right, leaving a little bit of slack there. Okay, gonna come back down. One. Careful not to pierce your thread. Gonna hold that thread out to the left there. Go in, and then in the corresponding hole of the signature. I'm gonna hold that thread up a little bit so I don't hit it. Okay, looks like we're good. All right, now we're going to go down to the fourth hole and go out. Something moved, I think. Oh no, I thought there was a hole right there. It was a piece of eraser. Going to go out. That's funny. I was about to freak out. Out the corresponding fourth hole of the spine. Again. Come down to the fifth hole, go back in. Now, why do I do 5 holes versus 3 holes? Why do I do 3? I just find the 5 hole a little bit more secure because my journals tend to get a little bit beefy sometimes, and the 5 hole makes me feel better. All right, we're going to go up again. I'm going to hold that thread this way. I'm going to push it up over here and try to go out the bottom part of that hole so I don't snag that thread. Okay, I think we're good there. And go out the corresponding hole of the spine. Again, for this one, I'm going to push it down and then go out the top of the hole. There we go. And then finally, up to the middle. And then through the corresponding middle hole of the signature. And there we go. Okay, let's put our needle over there. I'm going to make sure the tail is on either side here. So I'm just going to push this one through. Okay, so you want threads on either side. And now we're going to line this up here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull out my clamps. Make sure my signature is nice and even with the book and with the other signature. It's not lopsided. Alright, then I'm going to start tightening it down. Starting up here, I'm going to pull this way, right? And then pull its tail. Don't pull too tight, you don't want to tear your paper. And then go down to the bottom. Same thing, pull this way, pull down, and then pull up on the tail. Okay? I'm going to hold these two, flip it over, and just check. We're a little loose, so we're going to tighten it up some more. Just be careful, you don't want to tear your paper, yeah? Just put your finger underneath and pull it. Okay? Try the bottom again. Yeah, there's a little bit loose there. Pull up on the tail, hold them together, flip it over. I think we're good now. Okay. And we're just tie our square knot. Left over right. Right over left. And then left over right. I'm sorry. Yeah, left over right. Here we go. I'm going to cut off just a smidge down here. And go ahead and reinforce the fold here, the crease there. And let's check for any pencil marks I want to get rid of while we're here. Okay. All right, you guys. There is our book. A little bit hanging out the bottom. Just clean up the side a little bit. I'm going to take my dauber and run it up against here. That's adhesive coming out there, that white stuff. So I'm going to rub my dauber over the strings to get rid of that. Yeah? Real quick. No big whoop. It'll darken that stuff right there. Get that taken care of. Now I'm going to just rub this on my edges. Darken that up a little bit. Give that a little distress. And on the edges here, la 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 la. Now, if you want to ink your page edges, feel free, of course. It's up to you, personal preference. I will kind of like just run it over this edge here with my dauber. Not every page, just kind of rub it over the whole thing. It would be uneven, right? And then, that is your book. Done, you guys. Oop, let's clean this up a little bit too. Not done yet. I'm going to clean it up some more, darken it up some more. Okay, now we're done. Okay, so there we go. 2 signatures. This will fit in that lap book that we just had. Again, this was made for that lap book. But you can do whatever measurements you like, but this is how I made that one. Not so quick and easy. This one took us about, let's see, a little bit, almost 2 hours total. But like I said, you guys wanted to see how it was done, so this is it. I kind of like this one. I like this cover. What do you guys think? Alright, well, let me know if you liked the video and hitting the like button. Please leave me a comment. You know that's probably one of my favorite parts of my day is reading and replying to y'all's comments. I love hearing what you guys think and your opinions on what I do and what you like and what you'd like to see. If you're new to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified anytime we upload some new content. Any of the links I mentioned will be in the description below, along with a list of commonly used tools and supplies that I use. I also have a link to our Etsy store, so please go check that out, see what we have available. Also, there's some free content for you guys at my Kofi site, there's another link for that in our description as well. There's some free ephemera there, and I will be uploading the new piece of the free ephemera, another sewing, vintage sewing kit or sewing pattern for you guys in the next day or two. Okay, I got some new things to show you that I finished up also that I want to be that I'll be filming and showing you guys what's new, what I've done, and we're gonna get started on a new series. I'm probably going to be filming another series as I'm filming the Lapbook one. It's going to be for Halloween. I think I'm going to do a series for every day of the month, I think. That's a lot to do with a full-time job, but I think I'm going to try it. I don't know. Thinking about it. What do you guys think? You guys want to see something in October for spooky season? Like a project every day? We're going to do like maybe 3 or 4 different projects and film every day. So I'm kind of trying to plan that now to see if I can do it. Let me know what you guys think if you want to see something like that. Other than that, I will talk to you guys in the next video. This is part 14. I'll see you guys in part 15. Talk to you soon. Bye.